The USA is undoubtedly one of the most powerful countries in the world. Using their advanced technology and military, they could easily take over entire nations. But does this mean these guys are the actual strongest? What if, for example, the US had a war against the most powerful countries? What if they fought Russia? How about India or China? Would the US be able to defeat Germany? How about Japan? Keep in mind, this is only a hypothetical scenario, and no countries would be having any fights whatsoever. And with that out of the way, let's get started. The first country we want to start with is Germany, also known as the Iron Colossus. You see, it's not random that they got this specific nickname. After all, they are really efficient when it comes to engineering and are renowned for their precision and high-level manufacturing. This is well important in battle, as it makes their weapons and artillery more effective, efficient, and durable, giving them an advantage in any fight. With this, they created a brand new, game-changing way to fight wars, combining speed, coordination, and shock tactics using tanks, aircraft, and infantry. These tactics allowed Germany to overthrow multiple nations in record time using fast, coordinated, mechanized assaults. But how does that compare to the USA? Well, not only are their mechanics powerful, they are also futuristic as well, using technology types that no one has ever seen and thus make it difficult to counter. Although Germany's battle machines are more durable and of higher quality, the USA has more scale and is more destructive. I think when it comes to battle weapons, it could go either way, if not slightly leaning toward the US. However, unlike Germany, battle weapons are not the only strong point of the US, as they are far better when it comes to air battles. Not only that, the scale at which they attack is just going to overwhelm Germany, giving victory to the US. That was only the first round. Besides Germany, we have countries like China, Japan, India, Israel, and even Russia. Alright, now let's look at Japan. What would happen if the United States actually had a war with them? You see, Japan is well known for its high defensive capabilities, having possession of some of the best protective tools used during the battle. All of the advanced Aegis-equipped destroyers, submarines, and helicopter carriers like the Izumo. Japan has mastered the act of sea control, but that's not all, as Japan is also one of the few countries with layered missile defense capabilities, defending Tokyo and key bases from modern missile warfare. Let's not also forget that Japan is one of the top countries when it comes to technology and mostly builds some of their equipment with their own hands. This also means that most of the weapons used in battle by Japan are top tier and also foreign. If this was an actual battle, the USA wouldn't go all out, since the information on Japan's strength is quite unknown, which would definitely bring the United States to a big disadvantage. However, in this video, both sides are already going all out. The USA definitely has the advantage when it comes to air and ground forces, but I'm not so sure when it comes to the seas. Yeah, they might have destructive sea weapons, but Japan's defenses are more than enough to hold them back, and they aren't slacking in any way when it comes to technology. However, I still think the US would win in an actual battle, as they still have a bigger and more experienced military. And damn, we're not even mentioning nukes. Yeah, this is another win for the United States. Even if the first two were quite predictable to rule, this next one wouldn't be so easy, as we're going to be talking about China. China has the largest standing army in the world, but that's not even the scary part. The real power lies in their domestic factories and mechanical weapons that are all fueled by a massive economy and centralized command. They can build warships, tanks, drones, and jets at insane speed, which at the same time overwhelms any of their opponents with their massive numbers. They are also not slacking when it comes to defense, meaning they add pressure at the front while well protecting any valuables at the back. And with their battle weapons being decently powerful, how does the United States even hope to come close? Well, let's look at each of their important war categories and see who comes out on top. When it comes to industrial power and speed, China can build ships, drones, missiles, and tanks faster and cheaper than anyone. While the USA produces more advanced weapons, it still doesn't make them overall better than China. Due to massive numbers, China definitely has the edge here. For air power, I think I don't need to explain this one, as this is basically one of the US's strong points, which makes them far superior to other countries in this aspect. So definitely the ones with the advantage. For naval power and cyber technology, although China is great, the United States is still ahead in this aspect. Manpower, however, would go to China, as let's not for a second forget about their overwhelming numbers. And finally, nuclear weapons. Yeah, with their more advanced techniques, the US is still quite ahead in this aspect as well. And with all of these, I think it's only fair to say that the US wins once again. However, China is the challenger with terrifying potential. Think of it like Goliath versus a Goliath in training. And that second Goliath is getting faster, meaner, and a lot more prepared. But overall power still goes to the USA. Okay, now how about we talk of a country with almost equally scary capabilities? Israel. Could the US defeat Israel? Let's find out. You see, Israel might not be as destructive as other top nations, but their ability to infiltrate countries is scary. With this, they could easily find the weak points of their opponents, giving them the edge, as it makes them one step ahead. They use smart weapons, drones, and real-time battlefield data better than almost anyone. Iron Dome, David's Sling, and other systems can intercept rockets mid-air with near-perfect timing. Yeah, their defense is also no joke. And when it comes to offense, their airstrikes are pinpoint accurate, often hitting moving or underground targets with minimal collateral damage. These things are quite unique and would definitely be deadly against other countries. But if we're being honest, that wouldn't apply to the US, as they totally outclass Israel in almost every way possible. Maybe not on the intel gathering, but that's all they've got. USA takes a rather easy win in this round. Now let's look at a country that I don't think a lot of you know has true strength. France. France is one of the few countries on Earth with true global military reach. They have a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier overseas military bases across Africa, the Middle East, and Pacific territories. A navy and air force built for expeditionary warfare. Yeah, they are just like the US in this aspect. They also have some special forces that are trained to do all kinds of stuff. Deep raids, counter-terror ops, hostage rescues, jungle, desert, and urban warfare. They got it covered. They were easily able to drop into Mali within 48 hours to stop jihadist forces from overrunning the country. They used all of ground troops, airstrikes, armored units, and paratroopers, pushed deep into enemy territory, and retook major cities like Gao and Timbuktu. All of this in lightning speeds. Yeah, they are that efficient. Then add in the fact they have their own nukes. France is definitely a top-tier country when it comes to power. But when faced against a country with high nationwide destructive capabilities, they would have some problems. As, although still great, France's defense isn't really built to withstand long and extended battles, as they are not the best when it comes to quantity and have limited resources for prolonged fights. And honestly, the US could do that just fine, battling them until they have nothing left. The USA would still take this round. The United States has been on the edge for a long time due to certain advantages. But what do you think would happen if they faced up against a country with equal, if not better, stats? Russia. Russia's greatest battlefield strength, both historically and in the modern era, is its ability to absorb massive damage and keep fighting, using a mix of enormous manpower reserves, mass production capacity, deep battlefield experience, and a mindset built around long, grinding wars of attrition. In simple terms, they are one of, if not the best when it comes to defense. And when it comes to offense, Russia could offer 5,000 plus nukes, hypersonic missiles that break physics, and enough land to host a dozen wars at once. Russia's not just big, it's boss level. Their T-14 tanks look like they were coded by Skynet, Spetsnaz fights like anime villains, and their energy control, they can freeze Europe on command. This isn't just a country, it's a cold-blooded final boss that presses its own overcome your limits button daily. Both the United States and Russia have crazy destructive weapons. Both of them could go equally on both offense and defense. Both durabilities are off the charts. Yeah, honestly, this one is very difficult to rule, so I'd let you decide. Who do you think is stronger between Russia and the USA? Let us know what you think in the comments. India is up next. India is built for everything. From scorching deserts to icy mountain peaks to jungle skirmishes, India can fight anywhere, anytime, in any terrain. No military in the world has mastered high-altitude mountain warfare like India. However, the fact that they lack high technology to match their opponents brings a huge problem. Yeah, India might have the advantage when it comes to ground forces and raw power among soldiers, but still, there is one big factor that makes the United States come out as the winner, and that is, India is quite weak when it comes to air. And yeah, that's a big deal, since that's the US's strong point and mostly where they attack the most. The US would face little problems fighting India. And finally, the United Kingdom versus the United States. I'd start by saying that the United Kingdom's military stands out because of its elite, agile, and globally deployable force, backed by centuries of battlefield experience and powerful alliances. What that means? The UK may not have the largest military, but it's one of the smartest, fastest, and most strategically placed on Earth. However, being smart and strategic wouldn't be enough. Cause let's be real, it's the US they're up against, and it's not like the US military is outright dumb. So yeah, the USA would sooner or later take this round. Check out this video to see me create the most powerful military in history. Go on, check it out.